Good morning. My name is Tim Atkins, and I serve as your Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration. My pronouns are he, him, and today I am wearing a lot. I've got a purple striped shirt, a big purple cape, which will make more sense in a minute, and nice pink shoes and rainbow glasses. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church, where our mission is to explore the eternal, nurture community, and pursue the common good. We welcome you in your brokenness and in your wholeness. No matter who you have been, who you are, or who you are becoming, we greet you today with love. I'd like to extend a special welcome to everyone who is watching us on YouTube this morning. During the prelude, please introduce yourself in the comments and let us know where you're joining us from. If you're in Oklahoma City, what neighborhood, or if you're elsewhere, what city you're in. And now, the prelude prepares us for worship.
Good morning. Today, we invite our new members, the Krakowski family, to light the chalice. Ashley works for the OU Health Science Center, and Michael is a stay-at-home and homeschool dad. They have 3 kids, Michael, who enjoys video games, Mac, who loves art, and Atticus, who loves the outdoors. We light the chalice as a symbol of our sacred time together. The burning chalice represents the light of reason and science, the warmth of loving community, the cleansing heat of justice, and the flame of hope.
Our opening call to worship is from Joan Javier Duval.
You are beloved, and you are welcome here.
Whether tears have fallen from your eyes this past week or gleeful laughter has spilled out your smiling mouth.
You are beloved, and you are welcome here.
Whether you are feeling brave or brokenhearted, defiant or defeated, fearsome or fearful.
You are beloved, and you are welcome here.
Whether you have untold stories buried deep inside or stories that have been forced beyond the edges of comfort.
You are beloved, and you are welcome here.
Whether you have made promises, broken promises, or are renewing your promises.
You are beloved, and you are welcome here.
Whatever is on your heart, however it is with your soul in this moment.
You are beloved, and you are welcome here.
In this space of welcome and acceptance, commitment and recommitment, of covenant and connection, let us worship together. And today we're kicking off our worship with a little special presentation. The Oklahoma Council of Churches, now known as the Oklahoma Faith Network, has organized the Rex Friend Interfaith Youth Tour for decades now. We at First Unitarian are proud supporters of our local interfaith work. This year, the Interfaith Youth Tour was held on September 10th, and our youth group joined in with about 20 other youth groups from across the Oklahoma City metro area to visit the Mound at the First Americans Museum, the East 6th Street Christian Church, and Masjid Mumin. They had a contest for youth on that tour that asked youth to share what they learned at each of our stops on social media, and they picked a winner from the youth who shared. Our very own Blake Bynum won the contest out of the 100 or so youth there, and they have a gift bag full of interfaith goodies as a prize. So Blake, come on down, and thank you. Congratulations and thank you for engaging with our local interfaith community. And now please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing hymn number 12 in the gray hardback hymnal, O Life That Maketh.
The free stand, the full of breath.
My name is Courtney Custer. My pronoun is she. I'm wearing a dress and a superhero cape today, borrowed from Marlise. And I'm going to do the Time for All Ages and share a story called The Circus Ship. And I want to invite Miss Annie Bynum up here to help me with a piece of it. This story is by Chris Van Dusen. It's actually a book that was given to Blake by his mystery friend at this church in 2011. So what I want you to look for in this story are the superpowers, both the conventional and the unconventional. The Circus Ship. 5 miles off the coast of Maine and slightly overdue, a circus ship was steaming south in fog as thick as stew. On board were 15 animals who traveled to and fro. The next day, it was Boston for a circus show. The captain, Mr. Carrington, was kind and sincere. He thought they should drop the hook and wait for things to clear. But Mr. Payne, the circus boss, was terribly demanding. He stomped up to the helm where Captain Carrington was standing, and he screamed, "Don't stop, keep going, I've got a show to do. Just get me down to Boston town tomorrow, sir, by 2. There was an awful crash and a bash. Things flew into the air. The ship hit a ledge that no one knew was there. The shattered ship began to tip and sank without a sound. The splashing, thrashing animals swam round and round and round. The captain said to Mr. Payne, "Pray tell, what shall we do? We can't just leave them here to drown. We've got to save them too." "The animals?" yelled Mr. Payne. "What, sir, are you daft? It's me you should save. Pull me into the raft. Now ferry me to safety, sir, before I die of cold." "Don't question me," barked Mr. Payne. "Just do as you're told." Through chilly water all night long, the animals swam on until they reached the island beach just before the dawn. They pulled themselves on the shore, bedraggled, cold, and beat. They staggered to the village on weary, wobbly feet. The people in the neighborhood had just begun to rise. When they saw those animals, they had to rub their eyes. They thought they saw an elephant, but wait, how could that be? And what's that little monkey doing in the cherry tree? Soon, animals were everywhere and into everything.
There's an ostrich in the outhouse. There's a hippo in the springs. There's a tiger in the tulips. There's a lion on the lawn. There's a python in the pantry.
It went on and on and on. Mr. Hood was stacking wood and nearly jumped a mile when he saw an alligator sleeping on his pile. And Mrs. Dottie Daly, who grew daisies by the bunch, discovered that a zebra had been eating them for lunch. And Miss Fanny Feeney found, according to the rumors, the silly little circus monkey swinging in her bloomers. But everything changed quickly, like the turning of the tide, the night the abbot's shed caught fire with little Emma Rose inside. From high above the abbot's farm, the tiger saw the shed. The sight of smoke and fire triggered something in his head. He jumped through flames 1,000 times back in his circus days, and he ran past all the people and leapt into the flames. Everybody panicked. "Help, help, what can we do?" When from the raging fire, something big burst into view. It was the most amazing sight. Everybody froze when they saw the tiger saving little Emma Rose. The tiger's risky rescue changed everybody's mind. The animals weren't bothersome, the animals were kind. And so they lived together, side by side they got along. It didn't seem like anything could possibly go wrong. Then Little Red, the town messenger, came running with the word. Apparently a circus ship had sunk from what he'd heard. The animals are from that boat. They swam in from the bay. The greedy owner wants them back. He'll be here any day. So the people called a meeting. They quickly hatched a plan. No animal that came ashore would leave with that man. The next day, at the crack of dawn, a ship was at the pier, and up the lane marched Mr. Payne, whose voice was loud and clear. "I am the circus owner. My ship sank in the murk. I've come to find my animals and put them back to work." He hiked into town, the center of the town. His face was red. He scratched his head. He stood there with a frown. Mr. Payne looked high and low, but still he could not see the 15 animals of his menagerie. Now, you all have a copy of this page. Mr. Payne could not find the 15 animals from his circus ship. Can you find them? Do you have the superpower of observation? Mr. Payne does not. Some of these are very tricky. Keep looking while I read the story. He ran around the alleyways. He searched the village square. He even checked the chicken coop. His animals weren't there. Mr. Payne was tuckered out. His heavy chest was heaving. Then Little Red stepped up and said, "I think your boat is leaving." He ran off in a fit of rage. His ship was leaving sight. So he jumped into a rowboat and rowed with all his might. And from that day, they like to say their lives were free of pain. It was a happy, peaceful place upon that isle in Maine. Now, what superpowers did you observe in that story? Did you see the tiger leaping into the fire to save little Emma Rose? Maybe the other animals had superpowers that put them into the circus, like walking on a tightrope or performing in front of a crowd. The perseverance of the animals swimming in the cold water in Maine, their survival skills maybe were their superpower. There are maybe also some less conventional superpowers. The planning skills of the townspeople, devising a plan to hide the animals in plain sight, or the leadership of the organizer, getting everyone together united under one plan. Because as you know, it is not enough to have a good idea, you also have to get people to follow you. Superpowers exist in big and little ways for all of us. So whether you're rushing into the burning building or you're the person quietly planning things out, you have a superpower too. So now I would like to call Derek to give our offering.
My name is Derek Wagner. My pronouns are he and him. I'm a white man in my 40s wearing a red shirt, red polo shirt and jeans with short brown hair. Every Sunday we take an offering. Since 2002, all the cash and designated checks from that offering have gone directly to external nonprofit organizations doing good work, our Change for Change partners. For the month of October, our Change for Change partner is Freedom Oklahoma. Freedom Oklahoma advocates and organizes across Oklahoma and with the 39 sovereign tribal nations that call this land home to build a future where all two-spirit, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and fuller spectrum of people whose sexuality or gender or romantic identity exists beyond a heteronormative binary framework have the safety to thrive. Freedom Oklahoma was nominated as this month's Change for Change partner by our Radical Welcoming team in honor of LGBTQ History Month. For those of you who are in the sanctuary with us today, in just a moment, we'll be passing the offering plate. If you're not able to make a gift today, we invite you to offer a blessing to the work of our Change for Change partner as the plate passes through your hands. And if you're watching us online, please make your gift by sending a check to First Unitarian. Just write Change for Change in the memo line or make an online payment through our website, oneuce.org.
Beautiful. I now invite you into a time in spirit of prayer, meditation, and reflection. Spirit of life, known to us by many names and by none, we give thanks for being together this day. We give thanks for all the joys and our heartbreaks, for all the pains of our community, those both spoken and those left unsaid in our collective hearts. Today, we keep Reverend Diana in our hearts and wish her a speedy recovery as she battles COVID. We hold in our hearts all of those struggling with serious illness, including Ingrid Young. We keep all of those facing health struggles in our hearts and send our hopes of speedy recoveries. We keep all of the children, youth, and teachers in our public schools in our hearts and minds as they battle against institutionalized bigotry. And we celebrate with our local pagan community as they celebrate pagan pride. May all in need of healing from our community and beyond find peace, healing, and overwhelming love in this spiritual home. I now invite you to please join hands as you're willing and able. That's right, you can join hands as you're willing and able. The hand in yours belongs to a person whose heart is sometimes tender, whose skin is sometimes thin, whose eyes sometimes fill with tears, whose laughter is a beautiful sound. The hand that you hold belongs to a person who is seeking wholeness and knows that you are doing the same. As you leave this sanctuary, may your hearts remain open and your voice stay strong, and may your hands remain outstretched. Amen and blessed be. And now I'd like to invite our choir to perform.
Wow, thank you. The Wizard of Oz has been my favorite story for as long as I can remember. The book, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum, was published in 1900, which makes the story about 123 years old. That book, which first introduces us to Dorothy Gale and the Land of Oz, was actually the first in a series of 14 novels about the Land of Oz. The Wizard of Oz is called the first true American fairy tale because it pulls all the magical elements of traditional fairy tales but sets the story right in the American Midwest. So let's set the scene for the story. Dorothy Gale lives on a farm in the midst of the great Kansas prairies, in the words of the author, with her Aunt Em and Uncle Henry. Her dearest companion is her little dog Toto, and Dorothy and Toto, all by themselves in the little farmhouse, get swept up in a tornado and land in Oz. The first thing you notice in the movie version of the story is the brilliant colors in Oz. But that's only the beginning of the magic. Oz is a place where a wicked witch flies on a broom and a good witch travels in a magic bubble. Dorothy almost immediately finds she is enemy number one of the Wicked Witch of the West after her house landed on the witch's sister and killed her. And what chance could Dorothy Gale have against a wicked witch in a magical land where she herself has no superpowers? After all, Dorothy is nothing more than a turn-of-the-century farm girl. Dorothy recognizes almost immediately how disadvantaged she is and looks for help. She knows she has no chance of escaping the witch or returning to Kansas without the help of someone who does have superpowers, namely the great and powerful Wizard of Oz. So off she goes, at the advice of the Munchkins, down the yellow brick road to ask the wizard for help. On her journey, Dorothy learns more about the magic of Oz. She's in a place where a farmer can create a scarecrow that's living and walking and talking. This is where we see Dorothy's kindness. When Dorothy discovers the scarecrow stuck up on a pole, she helps him down and then invites him to join her on her journey to the Emerald City to see the wizard. Likewise, she meets other characters along the way, all of them with extraordinary powers that she helps and includes. Oz is a place where a woodsman can make a helper out of tin and a lion can talk. Yet both the Tin Woodsman and the Cowardly Lion benefit from Dorothy's kindness. She befriends both of these characters, first oiling the Tin Woodsman back into motion and then comforting the poor Cowardly Lion even after he tried to eat Toto. Together, they all make their way to the Emerald City to see the wizard because they need his superpower. When they finally make it to the wizard, they are overwhelmed by the display of power. There's flames and smoke and a big booming voice. They are commanded to bring back the broomstick of the Wicked Witch of the West before the wizard will use his superpowers to help them. So Dorothy, Scarecrow, Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion, and Toto too, travel to the witch's castle to get the broomstick, knowing they may have to destroy the witch in the process. In a land filled with magic, how can they possibly complete this task? How can sweet little Dorothy destroy the witch? So Dorothy and her friends do reach the castle and are eventually face to face with the witch. And do you remember what happens? The witch intends to kill Dorothy and all of her friends, beginning with the Scarecrow. She touches her broom to a nearby torch and lights the Scarecrow's arm on fire. Well, Dorothy's love for her friend propels her to action. She grabs a nearby bucket of water and whooshes it onto the Scarecrow, saving his life, and at the same time melting the Wicked Witch. It wasn't anyone's magical powers that saved the day. It was Dorothy's superpower of love and kindness that saved the day. Dorothy does take the broomstick back to the wizard, still not believing in her own superpowers. And at the end of the story, Dorothy learns that she had the power all along to return home, and that's just what she does. I think it's remarkable that in a land of such magic and wonder, it was something as simple as love and kindness that turned out to be the superpower that saved the day. Now, if Dorothy Gale were to take a personality test, I think the Gallup Strengths Finder test would be best. You might be familiar with this assessment. Test really isn't the right word. The premise of this assessment is that there are 34 personality tendencies which can be characterized as strengths, which we have to varying degrees. And if you take the assessment, you will find your own top 5 strengths. And with a little care and nurture, we can all turn our strengths into superpowers. I think one of Dorothy's top 5 Clifton strengths would be includer. This strength is defined as a desire to include people and make them feel like they're part of the group. Dorothy seems to have displayed that as she met her friends on the journey. And that impulse to include also contributed to her success against the witch. And it is probably something that Dorothy never even considered a strength because it was a natural part of who she is. 2 of my top strengths are achiever and input. And when I read the description for these, it was like someone who knew me well was describing me. To quote from the Gallup Strength Finder materials, achiever describes a constant need for achievement. You feel as if every day starts at 0, and by the end of the day, you must have achieved something tangible in order to feel good about yourself. And by every day, you mean every single day. Work days, weekends, vacations. Check, that's me. Input is another one of my themes or traits. This describes a mind that finds many things interesting and acquires, compiles, and stores things away. That goes for both information and also things. To quote again, why are things and informations worth storing? At the time of storing, it's often hard to say exactly when or why you might need them, but who knows when they might become useful. With all these possible uses in mind, you really don't feel comfortable throwing things away. Unquote. Check. Also me. That explains why I have a craft cabinet with materials dating back from high school, possibly earlier. So what's great about this assessment is that it does not evaluate your weaknesses. It just focuses on your innate strengths. The point isn't to try and turn your weaknesses into strengths because you can't. To paraphrase the founder of this methodology, instead of studying what's wrong with people, we're studying what's right with people. What was illuminating to me about the whole Strengths Finder class that I took was that we all naturally have strengths that can be developed, and the people around us have strengths too, but they might be different. And the first step to really harnessing these strengths is claiming them. So I now invite Gina Weaver to do a reading for us.
Thank you, Courtney. And now a reading by the slam poet Incu titled, I Believe in Superheroes. When I think of superheroes, I think of superhumans. I think of Superman, Wolverine, and Wonder Woman. Usually they have a cape or a mask to hide their face just in case. They have X-ray vision and superhuman strength. Some can even breathe in outer space. They fly around a while, but always come back to keep our cities safe. They're here to save humanity from itself. It's a metaphor for how we look outside ourselves for help. And while the fantasies are fun, I choose to look for me and you. We don't need superheroes. We have superpowers too. It starts with being open to this moment. If you do, then you can own it. Besides, it'll be gone before you know it, so don't blow it. You owe it to this second of eternity to show up, embrace the possibilities, and slow up, take a breath, look around, see the sights, hear the sounds, feel the ground, notice how gravity holds you down. You could be anywhere in the world, and yet you're here. When you accept that choice as your own, you can begin to overcome your fear. And real courage is looking in the mirror. It's deciding what you want to do and then making that appear. It's innovating out of thin air. We must be doing something right if we get scared, otherwise we wouldn't care. It's a process to get here to there, here to there. There is no here or there, there's only here. We're on a journey and we're learning, but building muscle means you're going to feel the burning, so don't deny it, simplify it, try it. See if it can work for you. Change perspectives to get a different view, and don't forget you gotta laugh at the truth, because sometimes your sense of humor will be the only thing that can pull you through. It's a medicine when you can let it in. An attitude of gratitude will bring a positive spin, so even when the storm clouds block the blue from your sky, you remember that the sun is waiting for you on the other side. And having fun is something we must decide. From the lows to the highs, it's all a part of the ride. I can throw my hands up, or I can hold on for dear life. I can hold on, but I'd rather live once than have to go through hell twice. Compassion is my passion, empathy is my gift, but my growth is incremental and as my consciousness shifts. So I create from an abyss, turning pain into gold. I am an alchemist, an optimist, an authentic soul. I believe that life is good, even when it hurts to see. I believe in superpowers, and I believe in you and me. I believe in superheroes, but I don't look for them above, because they exist inside of us all, and we save the day with love.
So you've heard us talking about unconventional superpowers, the superpowers that you might already have inside yourself. And now is the time for you to consider what your own personal superpower might be. Maybe it's joy, maybe it's organization, maybe it's animals, maybe it's caring. Whatever your superpower might be, I want you to write it down. Specifically, I want you to write it down on the name tags that you see on the back of the pew in front of you, the little colored name tags. And along each side of your pew, we have a marker that's hidden that you can share down the pew, okay? On your sticker name tag, and Choir will do yours in a second, I promise. On your sticker name tag, I want you to write your personal, unconventional superpower in big letters. And once done, go ahead and put it on and wear it like a regular name tag. For those of us joining online, please share your personal superpower in the chat. We'll take a couple of minutes with music provided by Steve for you to make your own superpower name tag. You can keep thinking if you're not done yet, don't worry. So I'll admit, I am not a big comic guy. I've only seen 2 Marvel movies in the theaters, both the Black Panther movies, because of racial justice reasons more than superhero reasons, and I took youth groups both times. I just don't get the whole superhero movie craze from the past decade. So last summer I tried to give it a go and watch the Marvel movies on Disney+. I just couldn't get past the first couple. I didn't read comics as a kid. I never really got the superhero thing and still kind of don't. So part of me feels very odd giving a worship service about superpowers. Because putting it mildly, I am far from an expert in the lore and legend of superheroes and superpowers. But despite not being a comic book geek, I am indeed a geek. And so I looked up why superheroes are so popular and did some research. And one of those reasons that superheroes were created and remain popular is that superheroes give folks inspiration to fight against institutionalized evil. Now that is an idea I can get behind. But for me, I've never been interested in conventional superheroes with their conventional superpowers like invisibility or running faster than a speeding train or leaping tall buildings or shooting web out of your hands or being a billionaire with a really cool belt, that kind of thing. I've always been more interested in unconventional superheroes with unconventional superpowers. The ordinary folks who saw a problem and did something extraordinary. The people who, no matter what happened to them, continue to radiate universal love and acceptance. The people who use their talent to change the world for the better. And if we think about it, don't all of our role models and personal heroes have some sort of superpower that draws us towards them? One that we want to emulate? So throughout this year in adult worship and in our children's chapels, we're going to be exploring different unconventional saints and unconventional heroes, talking about what their unconventional superpowers were and how they used those powers to change the world, just like you heard about with Dorothy. Now, some of these you will have heard of before, and some of these folks will be new to you. But one thing they all have in common is that they use their unconventional superpower for the greater good. But first, they had to discover what that superpower was. So I, too, took the Gallup StrengthsFinder test about a dozen years ago when I was a corporate trainer for a tutoring company, and my top strength was connector. And it was the first time one of those corporate personality test BuzzFeed quiz things ever really clicked for me. I'm good at connecting people with each other, connecting people to organizations, connecting organizations with each other, that kind of thing. It really rang true to me. It really is a strength of mine, and I love doing it. And I see it as my main superpower. It's what I put on my name tag, connect. Now, I've been able to put that power into practice, and let me tell you, you can tell when you're doing something that appeals to one of your superpowers. It feels more energizing. It feels like you're making a difference. It feels like the universe has aligned for one small moment. In fact, you feel just a little bit mightier than you did before. So with my power of connection, I started serving on denominational appointments and nominating committees, which sounds really boring, but I loved it. I love helping people figure out the difference they want to make and connect them with what opportunities are out there that need passionate people. I've been able to use my superpower to help influence our wider denomination, to make progress on things like anti-racism and multiculturalism, because I connected the right person with the right position. When I was a tutor, I loved helping kids with their college applications because I was helping them connect with their vision of the future. As a religious educator, I love helping connect people with ideas, and I love helping connect folks to others that have similar beliefs, interests, and values. And as a friend, I love helping people get connected to organizations they may want to be a part of, and connecting friends with new friends I think they'll get along with. It's not always easy to live out your superpower. I know how fortunate I have been and how fortunate I continue to be. But you don't need to live your superpower nonstop in order to pull it out from time to help change the world. Saints aren't saints because 24/7 they were being all saintly nonstop. I mean, come on, they were people too. Even saints had bad days where they were hungry and snapped at someone. Literally in the Bible, Jesus cursed a fig tree because he was hangry. Saints are saints because they were ordinary people who did something extraordinary. They were people who used their gifts and talents to change the world. They were people who knew their superpower and used it for good. So how can we turn and use our unconventional superpowers to turn us into unconventional saints? So from my own life experience, as silly as it sounds, the first step in this is to see your strengths as superpowers. Let me say that with the appropriate booming voice. Your superpower. Now, sure, it's an unconventional superpower, but come on, we're Unitarians. We like unconventional things on like a deep spiritual level. So that makes it even more awesome. You might not see always showing up early to help set up tables as a superpower, but it is because you're helping build spaces for others' needs. You might not always see gardening as a superpower, but it is because you're caring for the environment and helping grow food for both humans and animals. Once you start to reframe your actions and your strengths as your unconventional superpowers, all of a sudden it starts to feel a little different. It feels a little more weighty. You can almost hear your theme music playing in the background. After you've identified that superpower, now work on implementing it in your daily life on a small individual scale. You're likely already using your unconventional superpower in your everyday life, but now do it with intention. Reflect on how it's your superpower, not just your hobby. Put your superpower into practice in your everyday life with your friends and family, with your job, with us here at First Unitarian. And eventually you'll move from a place where you recognize your superpower after the fact to a place where you plan to use your superpower in advance. Now, once you've got your superpower practice down on a small scale and are being proactive with its use rather than reacting with your superpower, start to think of ways you can use that superpower to impact more than one person at a time. How can you use your superpower to help make positive changes in our community? Or, thinking back to conventional superheroes, how will you use your superpower to combat institutionalized evil? Again, start off small. How will you change your household, your neighborhood, your school, your workplace, your church, your PTA? You get the idea. The more you're using that superpower to change the world, the closer you become to your unconventional sainthood. And soon, maybe even sooner than you think, you'll start to be known for your superpower. And from there, if you want to pick a superhero name and like a costume to wear, I say go for it, but it's your decision. Unconventional saints have unconventional superpowers. You too have an unconventional power or two inside you that you can use to change the world. We all can become unconventional saints. And now I want to conclude with a little story from my yesterday. Yesterday, along with families from a Building Bridges class, I attended the Pagan Pride Festival. And to fully immerse myself in the experience, I got a reading done by a practitioner named Bobby Wiggins. So full disclosure, I'm not sure if I believe in the divine nature of things like tarot decks, but I am a believer that people can give you wisdom and advice that can change your life, and I firmly believe that wisdom can come from anywhere. So why not try it? So my practitioner had this special reading called the kick butt reading. And the first element was about what makes you such a bad butt. And while she was describing the meaning of the rose quartz I drew, she said, actually what this is telling me, your superpower is that you spread love and confidence. So I was pretty shocked that she used the superpower word in framing, since that's all that's been on my mind since Wednesday, since I took on this service. So that was a little spooky, I'm not going to lie. And then I thought about what she saw my superpower as, spreading love and confidence, and that is just lovely. Goodness, that is something I absolutely want to aspire to. It's also something I never, ever would have said about myself. And so that got me thinking, sometimes our true superpower isn't something that's even visible to us. We might think our unconventional superpower is one thing, but others might experience it in a totally different way. So today, as you're checking out each other's superpower name tags during coffee hour and at the supermarket because you forgot to take it off, if you think someone has a superpower that they don't have on their name tag, let them know what you think their superpower is. Let the unconventional saint in your life know you appreciate their unconventional and possibly unrealized superpowers. Because that's what it's going to take to change the world. All of us working together, using our own unconventional superpowers while respecting and uplifting each other's unconventional superpowers. Thank you. And now, please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing one of my favorite hymns in the teal softback hymnal, number 1028, The Fire of Commitment.
From the light of days remembered burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and the passion heat to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, that our promise finds fulfillment and a future can begin. From the stories of our living brings a song both brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our minds and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice built by our courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets our minds and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live in deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment in a future can begin.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of love and community which burns in our hearts.
Our closing words are from Aspire UK. If I had superpowers, we'd inspire the world to get active and feel good from getting moving. We'd be kind when times are tough and learn to love everyone equally. We'd be happy in our own skins and enjoy a good laugh together. We chase our big dreams and we still have time for life's small pleasures. We unite to save the planet and get out in nature more. We realize we all have superpowers to change the world around us. Thank you. Go in peace. Have a great week.